Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, in the past few days, the internet has been flooded with reactions to the Wizardliz situation. She had revealed something personal about being cheated on by someone she loved and trusted. Now, for many, it was shocking, not just because of the betrayal, but because of who it happened to. So, hi, this is your girl Shweta, and I'm your psychologist. And today I want to go beyond the surface and explore why the situation is not just about one person being exposed, but it is more than that. So now we also need to understand what her content represents and who does it speak to. So Liz has always been seen as a symbol of self-worth. Someone who has done all the healing and she is an empowered woman. Now her content speaks to women, especially those who are on this journey of self-discovery and emotional independence. Her audience often turns to her for guidance on how to walk away from toxicity, maybe how to set boundaries and reclaim that power in their life. Now, so naturally, when news broke about her being love bombed and cheated on by Landon, it triggered a wave of disbelief and disappointment because a lot of people connected with her. And let's start with also this question: why did so many people look up to her or admire her so much in the first place? So the answer lies in parasocial relationships where people, the audience, form emotional connections with others they don't actually know, usually through social media. Now, these figures often represent the confidence, healing, or strength they wish they also had in their life, right? So when something negative comes out of it, it doesn't just feels like a gossip, but it feels something which is personal, and it can feel like a betrayal for them. Now, let's just pause here for a moment and talk about something which has been widely spoken about, that is love bombing. Now, love bombing is when someone overwhelms you with affection. They just show you these grand gestures, they are constantly giving out attention to you and intense declarations of love early on in a relationship. Now, it might sound something like you are the one I've been waiting for, or I've never felt this way about anyone before. It just feels magical at first, but often it's not about the genuine connection. It's more about control. Now, once they have gained that trust, the dynamic can shift drastically, often into emotional manipulation. They can withdraw you from your friends or family members. There could be instances of infidelity as well. Now, in Liz's case, this pattern becomes painfully clear in retrospect. But here's something important to reflect on. Now, people often assume that only the naive or the inexperienced fall for love bombing. That if you're emotionally intelligent, if you're secure, if you're self aware, you are always gonna be able to spot red flags. But the truth is more layered than that. Research shows that individuals with anxious or avoidant attachment styles, those who have low self esteem, or those who have co independent tendencies, may be more vulnerable to love bombing. Not because they are weak or they are naive, but because they deeply long for emotional safety or validation. Now, even people who have done the inner work, right, the inner healing, who are confident, who are successful, and know what red flags looks like, can still miss them in real time. Now, if you ask me why, it's because love bombing doesn't feel toxic at first. It just feels euphoric, it feels flattering, it feels magical, and it mirrors everything we have been taught that we want for ourselves. That deep connection, that emotional intimacy and intensity that we are talking about, the sense of being chosen, right? The one. And especially in today's world where dating apps and social media amplify fast paced intimacy, it's just easier to confuse chemistry with connection. It is just that sometimes you might miss it because you are humans after all, right? That is a possibility that it could happen to anyone out there. Now, the very important question everybody's asking is, if she's so self aware, how didn't she see it coming? Now, that brings us to question that has been floating around for a while, which is, if someone like Liz, so emotionally aware, healed, secure, can fall into this, then what hope the rest of us have? Now, people often think that if you're self aware, if you're that emotionally strong person, you won't fall for the wrong person. And that if you have healed, you should be able to spot red flags right away. But the truth is that even healed people can get hurt. Manipulation doesn't always looks obvious that, yeah, well, I'm manipulating you. So sometimes it can also look like love, like care, like everything you have been wanting for yourself. Yes, you can know the signs and still miss them. And that doesn't mean that you are weak. It just means that you were hopeful. Healing isn't about never getting hurt again. It's about knowing if something like this happens, then how can you come back to yourself? You need to remind yourself that you are not to blame for how someone else choose to treat you, right? So I think this is something that we can all reflect on together when we are talking about the situation at hand. So, I also wanted to talk about something which was really important for me to cover in this YouTube video. That is the gender war and the subtle classism within it. Now, unfortunately, the conversation has spiraled into a gender war. People on one side say, look, even she got cheated on, men are just trash. It's a reaction that comes also from collective pain. But it also leads to generalization that flatten others' experiences, right? Now, let's hold on. Let's just pause here. Now, think about what does it say about us when we treat someone's beauty, success, or healing journey as armor against emotional pain. Many people are putting Liz on a pedestal that she's beautiful, she's the successful, confident woman. So people on the internet have also said things like, if someone like Liz can get cheated on, what hope is there for the rest of us? Now, it unintentionally tells women who don't see themselves as equally successful or secure or worthy that they are destined for betrayal, right? And that their pain is somehow inevitable if they don't fit into the ideal version of what the worthy women looks like. Now, it turns heartbreak also into a hierarchy. Women who don't fit into that ideal, who are still in the healing journey, who are still trying to figure out themselves, who may not have the same visibility or language to describe their pain, start to quietly question that maybe they are not worthy enough. They start to question their own self-worth. But cheating doesn't really discriminate. Manipulation doesn't care about your job title, your looks, or how well you have healed. It's not about who you are, it's about the choices of the person you trusted. This isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their behavior. Now, see, at the end of the day, we do not know what happened in the relationship, how things unfolded, what pain or patterns existed in their relationship, the turning points that eventually led to what we are seeing now. We don't know the full story and we likely never will. And we don't have to, also, for that matter. But maybe this whole incident teaches us that even the most emotionally intelligent people can still miss red flags, not because they are unaware or because they are naive, but because they are human. And healing isn't about watching motivational videos or saying the right things online. It's about sitting with yourself, asking difficult and hard questions, coming into spaces like therapy, and doing the real inner work. So I just feel that that is something I wanted to bring out here and talk about more in depth. And that is the reason I made this video as well. It just brings out my analysis of how the situation had unfolded for all of us. Now, thank you for watching this video. Bye.